Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In Java tutorial series, today we are going to discuss about one of the most important concept in the OOPS, that is abstraction. So in the previous session, we already discussed about what is the inheritance, then the type of the inheritance, like simple or single inheritance, hierarchical inheritance, multi-level inheritance. We also discussed about what is the polymorphism and the types of polymorphism, that is method overloading and overriding. In this session, we are going to discuss about what is the abstraction and how we can achieve the abstraction and what is the use of the abstraction. So let's start with the today's session. Abstraction is a process of hiding the implementation detail and showing only functionality to the user. So it shows only essential things to the user and hides the internal details, as well as it used for the rule implementation. So let's take the real-time example. As we discussed, abstraction hiding the implementation detail and showing only the functionality. So we can take the example of the ATM. So let's understand how abstraction is using in the ATM. Okay. So abstraction hides the complexity of the ATM's internal operation. For example, when you want to withdraw a money, you don't need to understand how the ATM communicates with your bank, verifies your account balance, and then dispense a cash. You simply input the amount and follow the prompts. So you don't need to what exactly implemented in the ATM. You just put your card and just provide your PIN and you will get the money. So there is a high complex system implemented in the ATM and you are using the outer functionality of that. You don't know what exactly the implemented in the ATM, what logic they have implemented to do all those transactions, to verify your account balance, to know if you are a correct user or authorized user or not. So all those implementation are inside the ATM and you are using the outside functionality. So that's why we are calling it as a data hiding. So they are not showing what exactly they have implemented, what logic they have implemented. So this is a real-time example. So let's understand how we can implement the abstraction in the Java. So for that, first I will create one package here. So in the OOPS concept, we already created the package for the different OOPS concept we are learning. So let me create a package for the abstraction. So new package, OOPS concept, abstraction. Okay. Here I'm creating one class name as the A. Okay. So let's first understand what exactly the concrete method. So in method, we have two types. One is the concrete and one is the abstract. Okay. So whenever we want to create a method, we write in this way, public void string. Okay. That's my method name. And suppose if I want to pass any argument that I will mention here, and whatever the actions you want to perform, that you will mention here, right? So I'm just printing the statement that is a testing. So here, if you see the statement, we are declaring that this is my method and what exactly the method name, what exactly the return type, the access modifier. So we are declaring this method. And if you see this statement, this is the body of the method. And we are defining what exactly the action we want to perform. So that is the definition. So this is a declaration of the method and this is a definition of the method. Okay. So this method is known as the concrete method. So whatever the method we discussed so far are the concrete method where we are declaring the method and we are uh, where we are declaring the method and we have defined the body as well. We want to perform some action that we include in the body and that is the definition of the method. Okay. Then what is the abstract method? So suppose I write the method public void hello. Okay. And here You see, this is a declaration, and here I have not mentioned the body of the method. Okay, so in the curly braces, whatever the action we want to perform and whatever the functionality we want to implement, that we mention in the curly braces, that is the body of our method. Abstract method. So for the abstract method, there is a no body for the method. Okay, so we understand the what is the concrete method and what is the abstract method. Now, if you see here, we are getting error. What it is saying? It is saying add a body or change a dot hello to abstract. Okay, so let me implement this a dot hello. Now you can see my class is also abstract. So for the class there are also two types. Okay, so class is also, there will be a concrete class and the abstract class. So whatever the classes we discussed so far are all the concrete classes where we not mention any abstract class. Okay. So for the abstract class, you need to mention, you need to explicitly add the abstract word, abstract keyword. Same for the abstract method, you need to add this keyword in the method. Okay. So whenever there is any single method, any single abstract method present in the class, then that class should be declared as the abstract class. So that means when we have not defined the body of the method, in that case, that is the abstract method. In that case, we need to add this keyword for the method. After adding the keyword, you need to mention the class as well as the abstract class. Okay. So an abstract class must be declared with an abstract keyword. It can have abstract and non-abstract, that is a concrete method. So let's see how we can execute this. So suppose if I created the object for this method, how this will get executed. So let's see that. For that, what I will do, I will create one more class named as the P. Okay. This is my B class, and here I'm creating the main method. Okay, and in the main method I will create the object for this class A. So AO is equal to new A. Okay, and let's access the method. So now you can see here we are getting the error message. It is saying cannot instantiate the type A. Why we are getting this error? Because this is an abstract class. We need to define each and every method from the abstract class, and we need to make it as a normal concrete class. Then only we can create the method, then only we can create the object of that class. Okay. So how we can do that? Let's see that. So first let's understand we have the two types of method, that is concrete and abstract. For the abstract method you need to add the keyword abstract. Okay, and for the concrete the method that we have already seen in the previous session as well, you need to declare as well as the define the body of the concrete method as well. So the abstract class having the concrete as well as the abstract method. Okay, two types of classes, concrete and abstract. We need to mention this keyword abstract in the abstract class. Okay, and we cannot instantiate the abstract class. Okay, so we cannot create the object of the abstract class. So how to implement that? So for that, what I will do, uh, let me create, for that I will put this in comment. Okay, and below that I will give you one example. So let's take, we are implementing the calculator functionality. Okay, and in the calculator there are the functionality for the addition, that is sum, then we have the subtraction. Okay, then we have the multiplication and the division. So we are writing the method for all this functionality, summation, like sum, subtraction, multiplication and division. Okay, and there are three persons working on this calculator implementation. Okay, so I'm giving you a simple example just to understand how you can use the abstraction while writing the code. Okay, so suppose that the person A, okay, is a team leader. Okay, and he is having the responsibility to implement this sum method. Okay, Then there is a person B as well who is working under the person A and who is going to implement the subtraction and the multiplication method. And there is a person C who is going to implement the division method. Okay. So there are total three members who is working on this calculator functionality implementation. Okay. So in that case, what person A, so he is a team leader. So he told this person B and person C, okay, we need to implement this calculator functionality and we need to create this method for the addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. So I want you guys to create this method where you are taking the two arguments. So what he wants uh, taking the two arguments, the two integer number, name as the number one and the number two. Okay, naming convention, he mentioned that the variable name should be the number one and the number two, and the method name should be as mentioned here. Okay, he don't want any other method name. So he set some rules here. So he want the code should be look similar and code should be in a readable format. So he set some rules that you need to follow this rule while you are writing the code. Okay. So the person A is in the class B. So he is using the class. So the person A, he is using the class A. Okay, let's take that. I'm deleting this code from the class B, the main method. So the person B will write the code here and I'm creating one more class for the person C who will write the code here. Okay. So in that case, what I will do, the person A is responsible for creating the addition method, that is sum method. So he created his task. So he created his method and he completed the task. So I'm taking the two numbers int number one and int number two. Okay, as per his rule, there will be the two numbers he is taking, right? And we need to do the addition of the two numbers. That is number one plus number two. And we need to print that whatever the addition is coming. Okay. So he set some rule and as per the rule, he created one method for the functionality of the addition. Okay, his task is done. Then move to the class B. So when the person B wants to when the person B wants to create the method, what he will do? He will create the method public void. So what exactly the rule? So he need to create a subtraction and the multiplication, right? So he will create public void subtraction, that method. And but instead of the number one and number two, he takes the number as the int A and the int B. So that's the mistake he done in the coding. Okay. And here he is performing the subtraction of the two number A minus B. So whatever the functionality he implemented, okay, so that's correct. That he want to do the subtraction of the two numbers. But instead of taking the number one and number two, he write the naming convention as the A and B. And he did the same mistake for the multiplication as well. Okay, so he created a new method for the multiplication and where he did the same mistake by taking the two arguments. Okay, then the person C, okay, he was responsible for creating the division method. In that case, what he did, he created public void division method and he's taking the two argument name as the number one and int number two. So he's taking the correct whatever the variable name, number one and number two. But if you see the method name, he is writing the complete division, right? So if you see the rule, what the team leader mentioned, he want the C to create a div method, not a complete division name method. Okay. So the rest of the people A and B don't know that he created a method with the name division and not a div. Okay. So he did that mistake. And but whatever the functionality is doing, A divided by B, that's correct. So whatever the functionality they have implemented so far, that's correct. Sorry. So he divided the number one divided by number two. Okay. So whatever the functionality they have implemented so far, that's correct. But they have made mistake in writing the method name and the writing the integers name or the variables name. They have made mistake in that. Okay. So whatever the rule implemented by the team leader that are not followed by the team members B and C. Okay. So team leader don't have, so there are multiple tasks in the team and he don't have the time to review the code. In that case, how he will get to know that okay, this team B and team C are not following the rules. Okay. So in that case, if you observe here, all the methods we are creating are all the concrete method where we are defining the body. So we are declaring the method and we are defining the body as well. So when team leader is, when he want to execute and he is executing the code for the division, he got to know that okay, this person created with a different name and he is passing the number 1 and number 2 and he got to know that okay, so person B is passing the integer A and integer B, not the num1 and num2. In that case, how he will get to know? Okay, so he wants to forcefully implement those rules on his team members. So how he can do that? So at the starting, we understand that for the abstraction, what is the use of the abstraction is the rule implementation and the data heading. So how we can achieve the rule implementation? Let's see that. So I will remove the code from the here for the subtraction and for the division as well. Okay. So now the person A got to know from his mistake. Okay, this team members are doing some mistake while following the rules. So what he will do? He's responsible for creating the addition method. As per his rule, he created this addition method that is the sum method. Okay. Then after that, he will create one more method named as a public void subtraction. Okay. And I will copy this and he just declares the method. Okay. So here he created the subtraction method. Okay. So the person will know what's exactly the functionality and what exactly the actions he need to perform, how to implement this method, he know that. But for the rule implementation, the person A is creating this method and this will be the abstract method. Okay. I will create the same method. So that will the person A will add the same method for the multiplication and the division as well. Okay. So when the person B wants to write a code for the method subtraction and the multiplication, what he will do, he will extend the class name. Okay. So when I extend the class name, we already discussed about the overloading and overriding. So in the overriding, I can use this method in my child class. Okay. So my B is the child class of the parent class A. So I can use this method, right? So he will write this method and define the body for that. So let's create. So we need to remove this abstract and let's implement the functionality. So he is doing subtraction, number 1 minus number 2. Okay, that gets implemented. Then he need to implement this multiplication functionality as well. So what he will do, he will copy the same method. Okay, and here I will remove this abstract and the number 1 into number 2. Okay, now if you are see here, we are still getting the error because there is a one more method, right? The division method, which is not yet implemented, right? So what we need to do, we need to again mention this B as the abstract class, or otherwise we need to add the unimplemented methods and we need to implement that. So I will make it abstract because the class C will implement that division method. Okay. Then what class C is doing? So he will extend the class A and he wants to implement and his task is to implement the division method. So he will do the same. He will copy this method from the here and he will implement that. Okay. So here we need to first remove the abstract. Okay. And we are doing we are here printing the division of this two number 1 divided by number 2. Okay, this is not a string, so remove this. Okay, now if you see here, still we are getting the error. Why we are getting this error? So let's understand. So we have the three methods a, b and c. B is the child class of the a and c is also the child class of the a because I extended the class a. Here what exactly the mistake I have done? So some methods I have implemented in the class b, okay, and the division method I have implemented in my class c. But the class C is not aware about what I have implemented in the class B. Okay. And the class B is not aware about what I have implemented in the class C. Okay. So here in the class B, I have mentioned this as an abstract. So that's why it is not giving me error. Because when I extend the class B, when I extend the class A, from the class A, there are three methods which are abstract, that is subtraction, multiplication, and division. So out of these three methods, I have just implemented these two methods. And in the class C, I have just implemented one method. But the class B and class C, they are not know that they have implemented all the methods. So how to get to know that? So I will extend here the class B, not the class A. So now if you see, the error is gone because the one method is remained to implement in the class B. Whatever the task is pending, that gets executed and that gets done in the class C. So that's why now the class C is the concrete class. There is no abstract methods in the class C. Whatever the methods, the abstract methods are available in the class A that we already implemented in the class B and the class C. So now the class C is the concrete class. So let's see how we can do the execution for this one. So for that, I will create one more class named as the class D. Okay. And where I will create the main method. So let's create the object for the class C. So before that, let me show you. So suppose I'm creating the object for the class B, I will get the error. Now you can see here because the class B is also an abstract class where I have implemented the two methods. Still it is an abstract class, so I cannot create the object for the abstract class. So we need to create the object for the concrete class, that is the class C, where we have implemented all those methods. Okay. So now you can see we are not getting any error here. So let me try to access the method. Now you can see we can access all the methods. So we can access the sum method. Okay, so I'm giving here value as a 3 and 4. Okay, then O dot subtraction. Okay, we can access that as well. That is implemented in the class B. I'm giving the value as the 10 and 5. Then O dot multiplication. Yes, I can access that method as well. Let me give value as the 2 and 3. Okay, and the division class method that is implemented in the class C, I can access that method as well. So I'm giving value as the 10 and 2. Okay. I'm not getting any error. I'm not getting any error for accessing these methods. So let's execute this code, run as the Java application. We are getting the output 3 plus 4, 7, 10 minus 5, 5, 2 into 3, 6, and division 10 divided by 2 is 5. So the code is working fine. And here if you see, the team leader implemented the rule as well. So how he wanted the method name and the variable name, he have mentioned that in the abstract class and whatever the functionality the team members that they have implemented in their respective classes. Okay. So we can create the object for the concrete class only. We cannot create the object for the abstract classes. So first we need to implement all those methods all those abstract methods mentioned in the abstract class, then only we can create the object for that particular class. Okay, and then only using that object we can access all those methods present in the abstract class. So that we have seen in this example, through this example. So here you have seen how we can implement the rule. So whatever the rule mentioned by the team leader A, that the team members B and C need to follow because of this implementation abstraction. So one more thing we discussed about the data hiding as well. So how we are achieving the data hiding here. So if you see here, so whatever the functionalities for this class is, it is not mentioned in my class A. Okay. So suppose there is some complex logic that we don't want to disclose with our client, or something, the code that we have write, we don't want to disclose that with the third person. In that case, you can create one abstract class, and you can write all those methods, all those functionalities in the abstract method. And whatever the implementation you want to do, you can extend that class, you can create the child class and make your implementation, whatever the code, whatever the functionality, what that you need to write in the child class. Okay, so in that case, suppose I'm explaining this to the third party, and I'm writing just one simple example of the sum, which is having some simple logic. In that case, I'm explaining them, okay, we are having this method in this calculator functionality, and we are implemented the logic. So if we relate this with the ATM functionality, so we are not uh, telling the customers or telling the users what exactly we are doing the inside, what exactly the logic we have implemented the inside, but we are showing them, okay, you can do the addition functionality, the sum, subtraction, multiplication, division. We are giving them this functionality, okay, you can work around this using this calculator, but they are not aware about what exactly the logic implemented behind this. There will be a complex logic as well, not as simple as much like a sum, subtraction, multiplication, division. In practical example, there will be a complex logic, and we want to hide that logic from the end users, or from the third party user, or from the client. In that case, you can use the abstraction. So let's summarize what we discussed so far. So abstraction is a use for the data hiding and the rule implementation. So we related that with the ATM machine as well, how we are using the abstraction in our day-to-day life. So we have the two types of method, that is the concrete and abstract. Concrete method means we have the declaration and the definition of the body as well, and in the abstract method we just declare the method. Okay, we have the two types of classes, concrete and abstract. Concrete classes we created so far, all those are the concrete classes. So where we have all the concrete methods, that class is the concrete class, where we don't need to add any keyword like abstract keyword. Then abstract class, in that case the class is having the concrete as well as the abstract methods. Okay, so in that case the method is having the abstract keyword, as well as in the class we need to mention the abstract keyword. Okay, then we discuss about the example of the calculator, how we can achieve the rule implementation and the data hiding using the calculator functionality. Okay, one more important thing, we cannot create the object of the class, that is the abstract class, we cannot create object of that class, but we can create the object of the concrete class. So first, whenever we create the abstract class, we need to implement all those methods in the child class. Okay, and then only you can create the object of that class and call those methods and use that functionality. Okay, so that's it for the today, guys. Hope you understand what is the use of the abstraction and how we can implement the abstraction in our coding. So in the next session, we are going to discuss about the interface. So thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.